In today's video, we're checking out the Saramonic SRB-V1 dynamic podcasting and voice-over microphone. We're also going to compare this up against the microphone it looks a lot like, the Rode PodMic. Let's get into it. Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. Before we get started, a massive thank you to Saramonic for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. If it says paid promotion somewhere on screen, that's because they're letting me hold onto this sample unit. They haven't paid me in addition to make this video, nor to say anything about it. So all thoughts about this will be my own, and I'll give you my thoughts about it at the end. Overall, I think this is a really great sounding microphone, but there's a few things that you need to know about it. And we're also going to compare it up, of course, against a couple of other Rode microphones. Now, this comes in at a really interesting price point. It's around $189, which is roughly $89 more than the Rode counterpart. It comes in around the same price as the Rode Procaster. Throughout this video, you'll be listening to the Saramonic SRB-V1 going into my Rodecaster Pro without any additional effects. So this is just as it would be going into an audio interface with no other post-processing. Currently, I have the noise gate on, and we'll turn that off in just a moment. When I first took this out of the box, I was blown away by how it felt in the hand. It comes in at 705 grams, which means it's quite heavy given its small size. The entirety of the microphone is metal, so there's no plastic components to it. It feels like a high-quality microphone in the hand, and the grill also has quite a lot of tension on it. Let's quickly cover the specifications when it comes to this microphone, because again, it's very similar to the PodMic. We get an end address microphone, which means we talk directly into the end to get the best sound. If we talk on the side, we're not going to hear it as much because this is a cardioid polar pattern, which helps reject unwanted sound from the side and behind the mic. The sensitivity level of this microphone is rated at -57 dB, but I found this to be a couple of dB louder than the PodMic, which has exactly the same specs. So you don't need to drive this as hard to get the same sort of volume out of it. We get a full frequency response rated at 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which is the entirety of human hearing. Included in the box, we get an instruction manual, a few stickers, this mounting arm, which is already pre-assembled with the microphone, and this foam windshield. Mounting the Saramonic microphone on the PSA-1 boom arm is awesome because we don't need one of these little threads. It comes with both built directly into the mount, which is highly appreciated. Up next, we're going to test out the cardioid polar pattern and off-axis rejection. And just so you know, I've turned off the noise gate on the Rodecaster Pro, so you're going to hear it just as it would be going directly into an audio interface. Now, one of the benefits of a microphone like this is it helps eliminate unwanted sound from behind and beside the microphone. So if you're in a noisy environment, or if you've got another guest doing a podcast next to you, dynamic microphones are far better at isolating your audio. To showcase the polar pattern, what I'm going to do now is just turn around on my seat and keep talking. This will give you a great example of how prominent the sound is right from in front of the microphone versus as soon as you turn away. Now, this could be a negative depending on your situation, especially if you're talking to someone next to you. You'll have to get up and use some mic technique like this. But the great thing about it is it helps remove unwanted sounds. If you plan on using a keyboard while using this microphone for a live stream, a podcast, or any situation where it's required, this is the kind of off-axis rejection that the microphone has. Now, this is an old school HP mechanical keyboard, and it's one of the loudest out there. So I'm just going to start typing while I talk here so you can hear how loud the keys are, if at all. And then I'm going to stop talking. Now let's try the same typing test using the noise gate built into the Rodecaster Pro. So I'm just going to be typing here while I talk. You might hear a little bit. Now I'm going to stop talking. And that doesn't sound like it's coming through at all when I stop talking. That's pretty cool, and the result can be very similar if you've got a DBX286S. One of the slight negatives with this microphone is how susceptible it can be to plosives. Even with the windsock on, a few of them still get through, and I've used this enough now to know that. But it's far better with this on than off. So let's test it out. Now I'm going to talk directly into the front. Podcasting professionals pick beans and potatoes. It's my new one. You like that? I thought I'd try something different. And now with it off, which can be pretty problematic. Podcasting professionals, yeah, so you can hear the plosives. It's almost unusable. So if you want the visual of this microphone like this without that, you're going to have to talk across the front of the microphone, which is fine. You still get all that great low end from the mic, but it just tames the plosives. I I wouldn't use it without this though, and for better results, get a proper pop filter. One of the first things I noticed about this microphone was how great the proximity effect is, and that's how big, full, and round the microphone sounds when you get right up on the grill like this. It really gives you that big chesty sound, so it gets the big thumbs up there. One of the biggest trade-offs with this microphone is its handling noise. Not only is the microphone ultra sensitive, but if we move the actual boom arm, we're going to hear all of it come through the sound. Now we can eliminate this by using the noise gate. This really does help a lot, but it's still not perfect. So that's already much, much better. But again, this does suffer from handling noise when you compare it up against other mics on the market. Let's do the all-important comparison up against the Rode PodMic. So this is the Saramonic still, and this is the Rode PodMic. I've currently got this guy off. Let's switch it over. And now over to the Rode PodMic. I don't think this sounds anywhere near as good as the Saramonic microphone. While technically they look similar, they're not at all similar when it comes to its audio quality. I've got the exact same preset, gain stage, and everything set up on both. I've set them both to the PodMic preset, and I've turned off all effects other than just the noise gate. And this is how the Pod microphone sounds. And this is how the Saramonic microphone sounds. To me, this sounds far more premium. It just has a nicer, warmer, fuller sound overall. Let me know your thoughts below. This last comparison is between the Saramonic SRB-V1 and the Rode Procaster, which is a microphone I have two of right now. So we're going to do this quick test here. Let's switch it over to the Procaster. So this has more of an isolated sound to my ear, and it also has a very different low-end response. The low end is still there, but it doesn't quite feel as overwhelming, at least in my headphones. Now, this has a high frequency that some people love and some people don't. It sounds more like a produced audio track to my ear, even though there's no effects on. So I really like what this microphone can do, although it is slightly susceptible to plosives, and I've shielded this a little bit more internally and still using a little foam windsock. But this is how the Rode Procaster sounds. And this is how the Saramonic microphone sounds. It'll be interesting to hear some feedback in the comment section. I'm going to wrap this video up by talking about the pros and cons of the Saramonic SRB-V1. So the things I really like about it, I love its proximity effect. I also like the overall aesthetic of it. The grill is a little bit more on the shiny side when you compare it up against the Rode PodMic, which is over here. But overall, it's a very similar microphone to this, which I think looks great. If you're looking for a microphone that doesn't cover up your entire face like many others can, then this makes a whole lot of sense. I actually think it sounds pretty nice. The biggest downside of the Saramonic microphone is its handling noise, which is why I got one of these out. If you do a current podcast with one of these on a desk and you have any issues with your elbows hitting the desk accidentally, all of that noise is going to get transferred through this into the microphone and into your recording. So if you do buy this microphone, I suggest that you get some sort of boom arm mount like this. Even a less expensive one than this Rode one will do the job, and I'll leave some recommendations down in the description. Unlike some microphones on the market, I love the fact that the windshield is completely removable, and you can still use the microphone whilst talking across it, but where it doesn't shine is with this off talking directly into it. Again, if you're going to be using this microphone, get a proper pop filter or use it with this, or experiment around with mic technique where you can get around not having one of these on. But if you are using this mic, or at least for me, I'm leaving it on the entire time. Saramonic are one of those sleeper brands when it comes to microphones. I'm not really sure why. Their wireless pack, the Blink 500 Pro, is one of the best bar none. I've been using that for the last few years over most other brands because of its functionality and sound quality. They also make some really great shotgun microphones, which you've seen me use on this channel over the last few years as well, and they're great. So I don't know what it is about Saramonic. They might not have the mainstream brand when it comes to podcasting microphones, but I feel like minus the handling noise, I think this is a really great buy. So let us know what you think. Thanks again for watching. Links will be below. Catch you soon. See ya.